Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India hosts an international conference on disaster-resilient infrastructure. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls for more investments. US lawmakers pass a $95 billion aid package for Ukraine, Israel and Taiwan. They also vote to ban TikTok in the country if its Chinese owner does not sell the app. And UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak begins his first official visit to Germany, aims to boost defence ties in talks with his host, Chancellor Olaf Scholz. New Delhi is hosting a two-day international conference on disaster-resilient infrastructure. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the delegates on Wednesday. India launched the Coalition for Disaster-Resilient Infrastructure in the year 2019.
International Conference on Disaster-Resilient Infrastructure, ICDRI, opened on Wednesday at the Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi. The ICDRI is the flagship event of the Coalition for Disaster-Resilient Infrastructure, an international organization launched by Prime Minister of India in 2019. Inaugurating the event virtually, Prime Minister Narendra Modi highlighted that damages to infrastructure system caused by disasters are reported in dollars, but the true impact is felt by people and communities.
We must invest in resilient infrastructure today for better tomorrow. Resilience needs to be factored into new infrastructure creation. Further, it also needs to be a part of post-disaster rebuilding.
Prime Minister also congratulated CDRI on its rapid growth since 2019 and its programs which are supporting the development of resilient infrastructure, including across 13 small island developing states. CDRI currently has 46 members. The theme of ICDRI 2024 is Investing Today for a More Resilient Tomorrow.
To achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, to reach net zero and strengthen resilience by 2050 amounts to $9.2 trillion. If we do not design resilience into our project pipelines, it will be increasingly difficult to achieve the high levels of funding needed to close the infrastructure deficit, particularly in the global south.
The two-day event that brings together governments, the global infrastructure community, multilateral development banks, the private sector to support the development of disaster-resilient infrastructure. Taposh Bhattacharya's report, DD India.
Campaigning concluded on Wednesday for the second phase of India's parliamentary election. A total of 88 parliamentary constituencies spread across 12 states and union territories will go to the polls in the second phase of polling on the 26th of April. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi held an election rally in the central state of Chhattisgarh. The chair of the Indian Overseas Congress, Sam Pitroda, has courted controversy by advocating an inheritance tax in India. He has backed the Congress party's stand on redistribution of wealth. Pitroda cited the precedent of inheritance tax in the US. He said that the subject of wealth distribution is strictly a policy issue. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his party, the BJP, have criticized the Congress manifesto, saying that the document smacks of appeasement and that if the Congress party came to power, it would redistribute people's wealth and give reservation to Muslims from the quota meant for certain castes.
In America, there is an inheritance tax. So if, let's say, one has $100 million worth of wealth, and when he dies, he can only transfer probably 45% to his children. 55% is grabbed by government. In India, you don't have that. So these are the kind of issues people will have to debate. When we talk about redistributing wealth, we are talking about new policies, new programs that are in the interest of the people and not in the interest of super rich only.
The ruling BJP has sharply reacted to Congress leader Sam Pitroda's remarks. The national in charge of the BJP's IT department, Amit Malviya, posted a message on X. Mr. Malviya said, and I quote, "Congress has decided to destroy India. Now, Sam Pitroda advocates 50% inheritance tax for wealth redistribution. This means 50% of whatever we build with all our hard work and enterprise will be taken away. 50% besides all the tax we pay, which too will go up if the Congress prevails," unquote. In a press briefing in Kerala, Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge said that the party has no intention of implementing any such unconstitutional tax law.
How can there is a constitution and constitution never allows to do this, and we don't have any intention. Why you are putting his ideas in our mouth? Why you are propagating?
Right, moving on, in a move that had an overwhelming bipartisan support, the U.S. Senate has approved a $95 billion foreign aid package, which includes military support for Ukraine, Israel and Taiwan. The Senate approved by 79 to 18 4 bills passed by the House of Representatives on Saturday. The 4 bills were combined into one package, which U.S. President Joe Biden will sign into law on Wednesday. The package has allotted $61 billion for Ukraine, $26 billion for Israel, and more than $8 billion to U.S. allies in the Indo-Pacific.
When Putin escalated his war against Ukraine, I told our colleagues that allies and adversaries alike would pay very close attention to America's response. When Iran-backed terrorists invaded the Jewish state on October 7th to slaughter innocent Israelis, I warned that the world would watch closely for signs that American leadership was actually weakening. For months, our friends have watched to see whether America still had the strength that won the Cold War or the resolve that has underpinned peace and prosperity literally for decades.
And DD India's Nick Harper has more from Washington, D.C.
Washington waking up this morning to something that has eluded the US Capitol for many months: the ability to fund allies in conflicts around the world. This legislation, a massive $95 billion aid package, has now passed the US Senate, having passed the US House of Representatives over the course of the weekend. The Senate voting overwhelmingly in favour, 79 votes to 18. So this means that a huge amount of funding will be going to Ukraine, about $61 billion worth, about $26 billion going to Israel, and about $8 billion going to Taiwan and allies in the Indo-Pacific, specifically with the aim of trying to counter China. And a fourth and final bill that's part of this involves the potential banning of the social media app TikTok. They're asking the Chinese owner ByteDance to sell the app in the next year or face its removal from US app stores. Now, we did see some opposition. Of course, there has been concern and opposition from hard-right Republicans for many months, really questioning why extra funding needs to go to Ukraine to fight a foreign conflict when Republicans argue there are more pressing domestic concerns, things like security at the US-Mexico border. And we saw some opposition from, in particular, a progressive independent Senator Bernie Sanders. He's pro-Palestinian. He questioned the need to send so much money to Israel in its fight there. And also, we have heard from President Biden. He put out a statement shortly after the Senate approved this. He said it was critical legislation, saying that it would make the US and the world more secure, that it would defend countries from what he called terrorists and tyrants. He has been urging lawmakers for many months to get this aid package passed, and we're expecting him to sign it into law in the coming hours. Nick Harper in Washington, reporting for DD India.
China's Taiwan Affairs Office has urged the US not to support Taiwan independence and to stop arming Taiwan in any way.
The Taiwan issue is purely China's internal affair and does not tolerate any external interference. The relevant bill in the US Congress includes Taiwan-related content, seriously violates the One China principle. We resolutely oppose it. We urge the United States to take concrete actions to honor its commitment not to support Taiwan independence and stop arming Taiwan in any way.
British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, who is on a visit to Germany, visited a military barrack in Berlin where he met with German and British soldiers. Earlier in the day, Sunak met Germany's Chancellor Olaf Scholz. The British leader hopes the trip to Germany will deepen security cooperation after he announced London's move to increase defence spending. Sunak and Scholz will announce plans to develop remote-control howitzer 155mm wheeled artillery systems and discuss collaboration on energy projects, including German energy investment. It's Sunak's first trip to Germany after he became British Prime Minister in October 2022. The CEO of JP Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon, has lauded India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi for his achievements in the country. Speaking at a webinar organized by the Economic Club of New York, the CEO commended Prime Minister Modi for uplifting the country. He praised the reforms undertaken by the Modi government and lauded India's education system and infrastructure.
He has done an unbelievable job in India. I mean, literally, and I know, the liberal press here, they beat the hell out of him. He's taken 400 million people out of poverty. When we go lecture Modi about, when they want trade with us, but we lecture literally. I go to these countries soon after a lot of our government officials there. It's like we're fantasizing about, climate and labor and how we think they should be running their country. He has 400 million people without toilets. Really? And we're lecturing them how to do things? They put in this unbelievable, every citizen by hand or by eyeball or by finger is recognized. They open bank accounts for 700 million people. The transfer payments are going through. They've got an unbelievable education system, unbelievable infrastructure. They're lifting up that whole country because this one man is he's tough. But I think you have to be tough to break that down, and he's breaking down some of the bureaucracy. They have, I think it's 29 states or something like that, but they all had completely different, it's almost like Europe, they have completely different tax systems, which leads to enormous corruption. He's breaking all that stuff down. And so, there are examples of people who have just turned these things around, and we need a little bit more of that here.
Ahead of a United Nations conference on digital public infrastructure in New York City, India's permanent representative to the UN, Ruchira Kamboj, has spoken about how the country's digital-first approach can push for an inclusive growth. In an op-ed published by an Indian newspaper, Ambassador Kamboj said that India's investment in digital public infrastructure, which enables cashless transaction and seamless delivery of service, has enhanced livelihoods. Ambassador Kamboj highlighted that India's tax revenue to GDP ratio increased from 8.2% to 17.1% as digital payments reduced leakages in government transfers. She said India's use of digital tools to promote equity reflects its dedication to the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. Still to come on DD India Live. Qatar's ruler holds talks with Nepal's Prime Minister in Kathmandu. US Secretary of State begins key China visit as tensions rise between Beijing and Washington, D.C. And Indonesia's President-elect Prabowo Subianto calls for unity among political elites.
hype versus facts. In-depth news and analysis with experts who will help you decide why this election matters. DD India is the main election headquarters with numbers most accurate, data most reliable, and viewership across the platforms. Stay tuned to the Great Indian Election only on weekdays at 8:30 p.m. IST and 1500 hours GMT.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Germany plans to resume cooperation with the UN Agency for Palestinians, the UNRWA, in Gaza, the government announced on Wednesday. The decision comes after an investigation by former French Minister Catherine Colonna into Israeli allegations that 12 UNRWA employees were involved in the 7th October attack on Israel. The Colonna report found that Israeli authorities had not provided any supporting evidence to back up their allegations. Germany has urged UN agency to swiftly implement the report's recommendations and improve external oversight of project management. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in China on a 3-day visit. Blinken is now in Shanghai, where he will meet business leaders, after which he will travel to Beijing on Friday for talks with his counterpart, Foreign Minister Wang Yi. He is also likely to call on President Xi Jinping. China has railed against U.S. assistance to Taiwan and condemned the move as a dangerous provocation. It also strongly opposes efforts to force TikTok's sale. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said on Wednesday that Russia will further expand its buffer zone inside Ukraine. Now this if Kiev takes delivery of longer-range missiles from the U.S. that will allow it to strike deeper inside Russia. The U.S. is preparing a $1 billion military aid package for Ukraine, the first to be sourced from the yet-to-be-signed Ukraine-Israel bill. Indonesia's President-elect Prabowo Subianto vowed on Wednesday to fight for all Indonesians and call for unity among political elites to take the country forward. Speaking at a ceremony where he was being confirmed as the winner of the 14th February election, Prabowo said he was talking to elites in the country to get along together for the common good. The confirmation comes 2 days after the Constitutional Court rejected challenges from losing candidates seeking a rerun of the presidential election and disqualification of Prabowo Subianto. The Retail Summit 2024, a leading global event focused on the future of retail, is on in Dubai with its agenda built around 8 key themes. Now, these themes aim to address critical challenges and opportunities faced by retailers worldwide. This year's summit delves into areas such as artificial intelligence, brick and mortar stores, data, digital transformation, macroeconomics, supply chain management, sustainability and ethics, and talent acquisition. The Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry is an industry partner of the summit. The 2-day event focuses on understanding current consumer trends and how modern technologies can enhance customer experience. The summit's goal is to generate impactful discussions and provide actionable insights to support the retail sector's growth.
We are basically showcasing our products which are made in India and 100% made in India. So we do a lot of backward integration, a lot of technology being used for the products that we manufacture back in India. And we thought that now that we already have our footprint in India and other countries as well, so we wanted to expand our horizons, and that is why we are here today at the Retail Summit in Dubai.
After completing a 2-day state visit to Nepal, the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Al Thani, returned to Doha on Wednesday. Nepal President Ramchandra Paudel bid farewell to the Qatari Emir at the airport. Vice President Ram Sahai Prasad Yadav and Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal Prachand were present at the airport. The Emir of Qatar reached Nepal on Tuesday. Nepal and Qatar have signed 8 agreements. The nondescript village of Palli in India's Jammu and Kashmir's border district of Samba has become the country's first carbon-neutral panchayat. A panchayat is a village council. The people of this panchayat are playing an important role in not only changing their own image, but also that of other village councils. Such self-reliant villages are scripting a new story of development in India.
On April 24, 2022, a 500 kilowatt solar plant was inaugurated at Pali Panchayat in Samba district of India's Union Territory, Jammu and Kashmir. With this, Pali became India's first carbon-neutral panchayat fully powered by solar energy. The solar plant, installed in the village under Gram Ujala Swaraj program, is spread over an area of 6,000 square meters and provides clean electricity to 340 houses.
जहाँ पे बिजली अभी 20 घंटे बिजली रहती है, जितनी सर्विस है ऑनलाइन जो भी 200 के करीब सर्विस है वो जहाँ पे लोगों को फ्री ऑफ कास्ट मिल रही है.
The electricity generated is being distributed to the village, having a daily requirement of 2,000 units through local power grid station. The installation of solar plant has changed the lives of people in Pali, and development has gained momentum in the village following the electrification.
ये हमारे गांव के अंदर आप मानोगे कि 2022 के अंदर पानी जल जीवन मिशन जो प्रधानमंत्री जी की स्कीम थी उसके माध्यम से जहां पे पानी मिला.
पंचायती राज बनने से हमें बहुत फायदा हुआ मैडम जी. जैसे हमारे गांव की सब गलियां जल जीवन पे घर घर में पाइप लगी है पानी के लिए. पहले एक कनेक्शन लेने के लिए हमें बहुत कुछ करना पड़ता था.
जब हम फसल पैदाश करते थे तो हमारे बीज के लिए पैसे नहीं होते, खाद के लिए पैसे नहीं होते थे, तो हमारा बीज भी कभी लेट हो जाता था तो फसल टाइम की नहीं भी बोई जाती. अब हमारे खाते में प्रधानमंत्री ने 6,000 रुपया डाला है.
The electricity via the solar plant has specially helped the farmers and students in the village. It has aided the farmers by improving the village's irrigation system.
न्यू टेक्नोलॉजी मिल रही है ना, उससे बहुत सारा फायदा हो रहा है. जैसे कि एग्रीकल्चर में आजकल ड्रोन सिस्टम आ गया स्प्रेज के लिए, क्योंकि पहले तो हम दूसरी तरह ही करते थे.
जैसे गलियों की समस्या काफी थी, रोड की समस्या थी. ये पंचायत घर था यहाँ पे कभी बैठने का मन नहीं करता था. आज बच्चे आते हैं यहाँ पे, अभी थोड़ा टाइम नहीं हुआ, 2 घंटे के बाद बच्चे आएंगे. फिर आप देखें हमारे गांव की माताएं भी आती हैं, बहनें भी आती हैं जहाँ एक्सरसाइज करती हैं. ये इस सराउंडिंग के आसपास में 2-3 चक्कर लगाने के बाद फिर वो चले जाते हैं.
The objective of the Panchayati Raj is to develop local self-governments in districts, zones and villages. The implementation of Panchayati Raj in Pali has transformed lives in Jammu and Kashmir as developmental schemes have penetrated deep into the social community, has penetrated deep into the social structure. Amit Mukherjee for DD India.
And DD India's Rama Tyagi caught up with a bunch of students in Jammu on the sidelines of a voter awareness program. The next generation of voters sounded optimistic over being able to vote.
Voting is a right we have, but it is a sort of a privilege too, and we should feel that it is a privilege that we are going and selecting our government, because in the world we see that democracy is not everywhere, and we have democracy, we have the rights to go and choose our government. This is the best thing ever, and as a youth we should contribute towards it, and I wish everybody goes out and vote in huge numbers.
Vote is very important for the democracy. It is considered as one of the important pillar for the democracy. For the strengthening of the democracy, you should vote. Everyone should vote, and every vote counts here.
As democracy itself defined as the government of the people, for the people and by the people. So here people are playing the most crucial role. Every vote counts, every vote matters. It is the vote of the citizen that builds a democracy in a country. So for me, voting is a basic right.
To sports news now, Delhi Capitals will go head-to-head against Gujarat Titans in the 40th match of the ongoing Indian Premier League 2024 on Wednesday. The last time these two sides met, Delhi humbled the visitors in Ahmedabad. The loss dented the net run rate of Gujarat Titans massively. Rishabh Pant led Delhi Capitals have won 3 out of their 8 matches and are at the 8th position on the IPL points table. However, they have lost their 3 matches in the last 5 games. As for Gujarat, they have won 4 out of their 8 games and are placed 6th. While it is not a do-or-die game for the sides, a win or loss today might determine the path their campaigns will take from here on. Indian golfers Aditi Ashok and Diksha Dagar are set to take part in the 2024 Paris Olympics. Aditi will compete for the third time at the Olympics, which is also the most for an Indian, while Diksha will make her second appearance at the marquee event. The Olympic entries are sent by the Indian Golf Union. Qualification for Olympics is determined by rankings, which is limited to 60 men's and 60 women's players through the official World Golf Rankings. The top 15 players in the rankings are eligible for the Olympics with a maximum limit of 4 golfers allowed from a single country. After the top 15 players, the Olympic golf rankings consists of up to 2 top eligible players per country, as long as it does not have at least 2 golfers in the top 15. Ahead of Liverpool's match against Everton on Wednesday, manager Jurgen Klopp said Liverpool will have to do it without Diogo Jota, who picked up an injury at Fulham. Liverpool left some key players out of their starting lineup for Sunday's 3-1 win at Fulham, including Mohamed Salah, Ibrahim Konate, Dominique Szoboszlai, Darwin Núñez and Alexis McAllister. Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp said facing Everton away was always a challenge, with 9 of the last 11 Merseyside derbies at Goodison Park ending in draws.
Yeah, in this week, because the next one is around the corner immediately against away West Ham. So and we had to do it, and we will see what we can do now for this game. Nothing definite yet. It's pretty early after the game, so this afternoon is the only real session we have, and then we will make decisions, and then we will line players up, and hopefully we will have again a lot of fresh legs on the pitch, because I think Everton played on Sunday as well. So it's actually everything all right. It's always about how you can get the right feeling again for the situation and for the next game and these kind of things, and we usually do that. So I'm really happy now with the response.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of DD India Live. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code and download it. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. You can also check out our website ddindia.co.in. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. All of us here in New Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.